You've saved up potentially years for this expensive luxury timepiece. You've homed in on a brand and complication to get the watch of your dreams. So why is it after spending thousands, tens of thousands, do we cheap out on the accessories and buy a cheap strap, a replica clasp, or even a cheap winder or a box to store our pride and joy in? I'm Andy, and welcome to The English Watch. Before we get started, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all my YouTube followers for getting me over 500 subscribers. We're now knocking on the door of 600, so my goal of 1,000 is absolutely achievable. I'm also getting some good traffic through the website, theenglishwatch.com. Go and check that out and engage in the comments. Looking back at my most successful video to date regarding the Omega Speedmaster Professional, this has now exceeded 10,000 views and just goes to show how much love this watch has. I've really enjoyed engaging in the comments, and there have been quite a few. Not everyone agrees with the best version, but that's part of the fun, the enjoyment, that engagement with the fans, and I'm pleased to say most are very respectful of each other's views. Now, speaking of which, today I'm wearing my Speedmaster Professional. This was purchased in 2018 after a holiday to Cape Canaveral, which reignited my childhood passion for all things space. Now, who didn't want to be an astronaut or a pilot when they were young? And most of you know, this is the basic moonwatch with the Hess-like crystal and the 1861 movement. It's a manual wind, it's still official flight gear for NASA astronauts, for EVAs, and true to its original design from the late 60s, with only the movement and the bracelet receiving updates through the years. There's no ceramic bezel here. Well, not yet anyway. I'm sure it wasn't just me wearing my Speedy as we watched Doug and Bob launch in the SpaceX Crew Dragon, and so pleased to see manned spaceflight resume from the Cape. It was also cool to see Doug and Bob wearing their Speedmaster X33s, also official flight gear. I'm so excited to see what Omega do next with this watch when they make it a coaxial master chronometer with the latest 1863 movement as fitted to the Apollo 11 50th anniversary model. Please check out my video that runs through my thoughts on what the changes could be. Let's see if we can get up to 20,000 views. Now, back on topic, and I guess the Speedy is a good case study for cheaping out on accessories, and it's no stranger to cheap straps and cheap clasps, and this Speedy has had its fair share. You can see an array of different tools, straps, NATOs and some clasps that I've collected, some better than others and some surprisingly good for the price paid, and some not so. What you have here are two blue rubber straps. On the left here we've got a genuine Omega rubber strap. This one's 21mm and bought for my Planet Ocean, and this one is a 19mm bought for my wife's Black Bay 36. You can see the watch head there. As a reference point, the Omega strap and clasp cost me about £380 from the Omega boutique, and the Reproduction I bought from a supplier on Instagram for around $55 US. Now, on close inspection, the Reproduction looks almost the same as the genuine, but let me show you where the differences are. First off, you can see that the Reproduction strap is a slightly darker shade of blue, and the contrasting white stitching of a lower quality and not as well executed as that on the Omega. Now, on the reverse, you can see how the stitching on the Omega perfectly terminates through to the hidden area at the end there, and the other one having the ends just visible through the bottom. Now, considering the design, shape and features of both straps, you can see that the Reproduction has some faithfully moulded elements that match that of the Omegas, other than not having text expressing its origin. The feel and the stiffness of the Omega strap is far more substantial as well, even though they have similar thicknesses. Looking at the interface of the watch head, the Omega strap has a securely moulded block that is coloured the same. This is a hard piece of plastic to retain the spring bars, and the Reproduction strap has a similar block, albeit not coloured. However, this is not as well secured as the Omega, as you can see here, and starting to pull away. Glad really, as my wife could have lost her watch had it failed. Now, in fairness to the supplier of this strap, I only noticed this as I was starting to make this video. They were very responsive and will send me a replacement straight away. And that's great service even at this price point. Moving on to the clasps, there's a real clear visual difference with the Omega using the latest design and the Reproduction the classic design. The Omega also has satin and polish, and looking closely has much tighter tolerance around the hinge and the head. Operating both, the Omega opens and closes very smoothly, with the pusher action precise and well damped. The Reproduction, by contrast, requires a bit more effort and doesn't close as easily. Once closed, it also has a rattle where the Omega is solid and tight. Now looking at the other two clasps, these are even worse. I'm bought on eBay and Etsy for around £10 and they feel overpriced. Now moving on to the Crafter Blue strap. At around $50 US, this strap is exceptional value. Considering how it is constructed with the spring bar block moulded in really well, the only detracting points for me are the smell of vanilla and the big shiny keeper. These straps run out of stock often, but worth a look if considering a ROBBY or an Everest for your Rolex or Tudor. Now at this point I'm going to introduce you to the Hirsch ROBBY. This is a 22mm strap that I bought for my Omega Planet Ocean and costs around £60. Now this is a good example of a primary accessory supplier that is substantial, beautifully styled, with good material choices. I do like the sailcloth over this rubber. The two materials have been joined together extremely well, and I have no doubt this strap will take a real beating and last a long time. I had to squeeze it into the 21mm lugs on the Planet Ocean, but ultimately preferred the blue strap to go with my blue dial and bezel. Now you can draw your own conclusions as to which one you would choose. For me, on performance straps, having experienced a variety of aftermarket and alternatives, I feel far better having a strap designed specifically for the watch, and also feel that the genuine deployments are head and shoulders above the alternatives. Okay, now on for the unboxing. Now I've already removed the tape just to speed this up, so let's have a look what's inside. It's the first time I've seen this. So we've got a white box, so case Elegance. Give the gift of elegance, so isn't that nice? And it is Father's Day on Sunday, so maybe it's the perfect gift to myself. So there's a barcode at the bottom there. CE leather watch in brown. So this is the brown version. There was a black one as well. Right, let's have a look inside. So we've got a bit of a cardboard divider there. There's a little card there. Pillows specially designed to help fit. Okay, there's another card with the warranty. So that's one side. So there's some pillows. Let's have a look at these. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Looks like large marshmallows, a bit of silica gel. Let's get rid of those. Then finally, inside we have what is advertised as vegan leather, which is plastic to you and me. Let's have a look inside. So we shouldn't expect much for £13. And here it is. So it's got CE, so case Elegance, as it says. It's got a little popper on the front, so let's just pop that open. Okay. And inside, some more silica gel and some more watch rolls. So these look like smaller ones that have been supplied, and there's some bigger ones inside. So let's get those out and have a look at the case. So there's a couple of dividers in there. I mean, it's quite cheaply constructed, as you can see. Machine finished with the stitching, but it's okay. I mean, you know, how often are we going to use this? It's to occasionally go away with maybe watch myself, my wife, maybe something else. What can I say really? It's fake leather. Doesn't smell particularly nice, but again, what do you expect? So let's have a quick look at these cushions then. So you've got a big one and a small one. Let's take my Submariner and let's see how it fits on the big one. Let's stick that on there, and what we don't want to do is strain in too much, so that one is a bit of a squeeze. Now I've got a 6 3/4 inch wrist, so it's about average. So that's the sub on there. Now let's try the Speedmaster. Let's get the other big one. And ooh, that doesn't want to go. I don't want to force it, so let's get rid of that one. Try a small one. That's better. Look at that. Fits nicely. Now I think what I'm going to do is take that one off there, because I don't like putting too much tension on these bracelets. I know modern Rolex bracelets shouldn't stretch, but it's not worth encouraging in my view. And then it fits just fine on there, so it's not falling off on the smaller one. And then finally, Tudor Black Bay, obviously on the leather strap, and as you'll see, still fitted the wrong way around, the Tudor way around, as you can see, and that almost matches. Right, so we've got 3 nice watches that's going to go into this cheap travel box. Let's get the sub in the middle. Shouldn't really have a preference, should I? Let's put the Speedy on the right, put Tudor on the left. Okay, let's close it up. They're pretty snug in there. So that's it, one travel watch roll. Let's give it a bit of a shake and see what happens. It's a bit wobbly inside there. Now, unless you're experiencing loads of turbulence or you're going over a very bumpy road or running with it in a backpack, we shouldn't experience too much trouble, but as you can see, they have moved around a little bit. Yeah, they're not going to get damaged or scratched because of the nature of this soft inside. But I guess from a premium experience, I guess you'd reason expect to open your case, your beautiful leather case, and expect to see your watches presented impeccably towards you. And this is where paying for quality probably helps, and just paying to transport 3 nice watches in relative protection, yeah, you're not going to get that extra surprise and delight. So I think for me this will do fine, and it's perfectly in line with today's video, which is, should you spend more on accessories? In this case, absolutely not. Would I love one of those expensive watch rolls? Absolutely I would. I mean, who wouldn't? But you know, it's not going to happen anytime soon, so this will do just fine. Okay. In conclusion then, should you feel bad about cheaping out on your accessories? I think the answer is yes and no. As I mentioned, you can apply different rules for different situations, but I do feel that adding cheap accessories to the higher value pieces devalues your experience with the watch. It certainly does for me. But as with the Speedy, not in all situations. Should we extend this to boxes and winders? Perhaps. Some of us are just glad we could scrape enough together to get the watch. After all, that's where all the enjoyment is. And if you're lucky enough to be able to stretch to one of those beautiful made with leather watch rolls or a top-end watch winder from Wolf, then go for it. These are all great enhancements to the luxury experience. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition. Please give it the thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and don't forget to leave any comments at the end. I'll put a link into the watch roll, and this is an affiliate link, so I may get a commission, but you won't pay any more. And to be honest, I've not earned a bean yet, so nobody's getting rich on this one. Don't forget to check out my other videos where I highlight some of the straps that you've seen today, and my website where I try to update as regularly as I can. I'm Andy, this has been The English Watch. Now take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.